I'm Peter Pennoyer, and my firm is called Peter Pennoyer Architects. There really hasn't been a time I can remember when I wasn't interested in architecture. I grew up in New York, and our next-door neighbor was an architect at Skidmore, Owings and Merrill. I found him very interesting. My father was on the Art Commission when I was a child, which is a very obscure agency that looks at every building project in the whole city on public land. So he would often bring home the drawings, and I would look at his projects, and it always seemed something I was interested in. I was at Columbia College in Bob Stern's studio, and I started working with him as an intern, working on exhibit design. I was at the right place at the right time and allowed to do real architecture projects very early on. Because I was working for Bob Stern, I was asked by a friend in graduate school to help with design Isabella Rossellini's first loft. And that was pure luck. We worked for Keith Haring, we designed his pop shop and his studios on Broadway. You know, we ended up working for the Warhol factory, and we had an incredible range of clients who were all setting different challenges for us, but it was incredible education. Some of the more interesting projects we're working on now are a townhouse that was originally designed by Grosvenor Atterbury. We've also recently completed a house for a woman who has a collection of 19th century American paintings and antiques, and it has very elaborate vaulted ceilings and I'd say beautiful plaster decoration. It was a really great opportunity. And there was a townhouse on the Upper East Side where the curved stair was made robotically from digital information by the same company that makes the curved steel for Frank Gehry's buildings. So it's a Beaux-Arts, traditional-looking stair that is made using cutting-edge technology. One reason we have such a great team in our creative process is that we start with research, which means at some level we pretend we know nothing. That is, about the client and the program and their needs. So it's really about learning from the ground up. We have to be very sensitive about the neighborhood and the environment, and we're very successful at shaping our projects to be positive contributions to where they're built. You really have to think about your neighbors. We just completed our first LEED Gold building. We find that this was something we've thought about for our whole practice together in this office, because we always believed that a lot of traditional architecture was actually a response to the environment as much as it was stylistically driven. So, you know, we always thought that a house in South Carolina had porches all around and was raised up on a half-story for environmental reasons, not because people thought they were pretty. We think that good design and tailoring space, controlling volume is a significant environmental advantage to wide open modernist spaces with big glass walls. What separates this firm from others is that we draw, and we draw with pencils, and we sketch, and in a way it's a luxury for us. It allows us to have a creative process that's very fluid and open and personal. I love drawing, and I think it's my advice to anyone who's interested in architecture is to start drawing as early and as frequently as you can, because it trains your mind to see the architecture better than you can if you just look at it. The physical connection between the paper and the brain and the whole physical act of designing really, in my case, can't be translated well to a series of digital commands. There is an artist here named Anklung Leakin, who's an architect also, who does beautiful watercolors, and by painting the building, he brings it alive and into kind of materiality, which is much more sensual and real than a computer can ever achieve. Redefining luxury is about better quality and resonance more than it is quantity. It is I say, more humble, less showy idea of luxury than we all remember from 10 years ago. It's more about making something that is both beautiful, well-made, but also resonates to create a sense of memory, a sense of history, a sense of narrative, and have more to do with craft than simply looking for size and, you know, splashy statements. Architecture is important if it can excite someone who's stuck behind the wheel of a cab all day as much as it does a critic at Architectural Record. That's my kind of architecture.